Have you ever noticed how some people always seem to get what they want? Whether it's convincing their boss, winning a deal, or simply earning everyone's respect, things just work out for them. They don't shout, they don't push, yet people listen to them. Have you ever wondered why that happens? Bob Burg, in his powerful book, The Art of Persuasion, reveals a truth that most people never realize. Persuasion is not about pressuring others or forcing your ideas. It's not about being manipulative or clever with words. Real persuasion is about influence, and influence begins with trust, connection, and genuine care for others. When people say yes to you, it's not because you proved them wrong or talked the most, it's because they felt understood, respected, and safe with you. That's the hidden power behind every yes. It's not about winning arguments, it's about winning hearts. This book teaches that if you want people to listen to you, believe in you, and follow your ideas, you must first make them feel valued. The goal is not to dominate, but to create harmony where both sides win. In today's world, where everyone is trying to talk louder, Bob Burg's wisdom is simple yet rare. Persuasion is not about talking at all. It's about listening, caring, and connecting so deeply that people naturally trust your direction. So, as we begin this journey into the art of persuasion, remember this one golden line. You don't need to push people to get what you want. You just need to understand them deeply enough that they want to say yes.
Chapter 1. What is persuasion and what it isn't? Most people think persuasion means forcing someone to agree with you or convincing them with clever words. But that's not real persuasion. That's manipulation. And manipulation never lasts. It may work once or twice, but in the long run, people stop trusting you. Bob Burg clearly explains that true persuasion is the opposite of manipulation. It's not about tricking others into doing what you want. It's about helping them understand why it's good for them, too. Real persuasion means finding common ground where both sides benefit. It's built on empathy, respect, and honest communication. You don't try to control people. You guide them by showing genuine care and understanding. When you focus on others' needs first, they automatically start listening to you. Imagine this. You're not trying to win an argument. You're trying to create agreement. You're not saying, do this for me. You're saying, let's do this together. It will help us both. That's the real meaning of persuasion. It's not about power over people. It's about connection with people.
Chapter 2. The Foundation of Influence, Likability, and Trust. Bob Burg says something very powerful. People don't say yes to ideas, they say yes to people. And the people they say yes to are the ones they like and trust. Think about it. When you meet someone who makes you feel comfortable, listens to you with interest, and speaks honestly, you naturally want to support them. That's the real foundation of influence. Burg explains that persuasion doesn't start with clever words. It starts with genuine warmth. When your presence feels positive and safe, others automatically open up to your ideas. It's not about being fake nice or trying too hard. It's about truly caring for the person in front of you. Active listening is another secret weapon. Most people listen only to reply, not to understand. But when you listen deeply, without interrupting, people feel respected. They feel heard. And that simple feeling builds massive trust. So finally, honesty ties everything together. Never promise what you can't deliver. Never pretend to know what you don't. Real influence grows when people can depend on your words. So persuasion doesn't begin with talking, it begins with how you make people feel. When people like you and trust you, your words automatically carry power.
Chapter 3. The Golden Rule of Persuasion. Focus on others. Bob Burg calls this the most powerful secret in the art of persuasion. Make it about them, not you. Most people try to persuade by talking about their own ideas, achievements, or goals. But real influence begins when you shift the focus completely toward the other person. Instead of trying to impress someone, be genuinely interested in them. Ask about their thoughts, their needs, their challenges. When you do this sincerely, people feel respected and valued, and that's when their minds open to what you have to say. Burg reminds us of the power of simple human connection, remembering someone's name, noticing small details, and appreciating their efforts. These little gestures create emotional warmth, which builds a strong bridge of trust. The truth is, people don't care how smart you are until they feel that you care about them. When they feel understood, they naturally become curious about your ideas. So, the golden rule of persuasion is simple. Talk less about yourself and listen more to others. The more you make someone feel important, the more they'll want to listen, cooperate, and say yes.
Chapter 4. The Power of Words. Speak to emotions, not logic. Bob Burg explains that when it comes to persuasion, logic is not the first door to the human mind. Emotion is. People may think they make decisions based on facts and numbers, but in reality, they decide based on how something makes them feel. That's why great persuaders don't just talk, they connect emotionally. They use stories, simple examples, and a warm tone that touches the heart before it reaches the brain. Burg says, facts tell, but emotions sell. If you share only data, people might understand you, but if you share feelings, they will remember you. For example, instead of saying, "This product saves time," say, "This will give you more evenings to spend with your family." That emotional image connects instantly. The way you say something matters as much as what you say. A kind tone, calm words, and genuine empathy create trust. Even simple phrases like, "I understand how you feel," can melt barriers. So, if you want to persuade, don't try to sound smart. Try to sound human. Speak with heart, not just with logic. Because when emotions are touched, the mind naturally follows.
Chapter 5. The Law of Value. Give more than you take. Bob Burg says that the most powerful persuaders are givers, not takers. Real influence doesn't come from demanding attention or chasing favors. It comes when people feel that you genuinely care about their success, not just your own. When you help others without expecting anything in return, by offering ideas, encouragement, or small acts of kindness, you create emotional credit in their hearts. People remember how you make them feel, and that feeling becomes trust. Burg calls this the law of value. The more value you give, the more people naturally want to listen to you, follow you, and even support you. It's not about money or gifts, it's about giving respect, honesty, and genuine effort. For example, if you're in sales, don't just sell a product, give advice that helps the customer, even if they don't buy today. If you're a leader, don't just give orders, give appreciation and understanding. Over time, this giving attitude makes people want to say yes to you. In short, generosity is the secret magnet of persuasion. When people see you as someone who adds value to their lives, your words carry more weight, your presence earns more respect, and your influence grows, naturally and effortlessly. Chapter 6. The Art of Listening, the Silent Superpower. Bob Burg says that one of the biggest secrets of persuasion is not talking, it's listening. Most people listen only to reply, waiting for their turn to speak. But true persuaders listen to understand. When you listen with full attention, not judging, not interrupting, you make the other person feel important. And that feeling of being heard creates instant trust. Remember, people are not persuaded by your words until they first feel that you care about theirs. Listening is not passive, it's an active skill.
It means watching body language, asking gentle follow-up questions, and giving small signals like nods or "I understand." These small actions make people open up more, and when they open up, you gain insight into what truly matters to them. Burg calls listening a silent superpower because it gives you information that words alone can't. When you know what people feel, fear, or hope for, you can respond in a way that connects deeply, and that's where real persuasion happens. So, if you want to influence others, start by staying quiet. Let them talk. Listen with empathy, not ego, because when people feel heard, they become ready to hear you.
Chapter 7. Overcoming Resistance, Turning No into Maybe. Bob Burg reminds us that hearing no is not the end of persuasion. It's just the beginning of understanding. Most people panic, argue, or try to push harder when someone disagrees, but true persuaders do the opposite. They stay calm, respectful, and curious. When a person says no, it doesn't always mean they reject you or your idea. It often means they don't yet understand the value or they don't feel ready. Instead of reacting, take a step back and ask gentle questions like, "Can you tell me what's holding you back?" Or, "What would make you feel more comfortable about this?" This shifts the focus from conflict to connection. It shows the other person that you care about their concerns, not just your result. Burg explains that when people feel respected and not pressured, their resistance naturally softens. Sometimes the real reason behind a no is fear, confusion, or lack of clarity. By listening patiently and addressing that reason, you can often turn a firm no into a thoughtful maybe. And once they feel safe and understood, maybe can turn into a confident yes. So remember, persuasion is not about winning arguments, it's about winning hearts. When you replace pressure with patience, resistance turns into trust, and trust opens every door.
Chapter 8. Building Win-Win Relationships. Bob Burg teaches that the real art of persuasion lies in creating win-win situations where both sides walk away feeling respected and satisfied. Most people think persuasion means convincing others to lose so that they can win. But that kind of victory is short-lived. True influence is about finding common ground where everyone benefits. When both sides gain something valuable, whether it's trust, understanding, or opportunity, the relationship grows stronger. People remember those who make them feel valued, not defeated. Burg reminds us if someone feels tricked or pressured, they may agree in the moment, but they'll avoid you later. To build a win-win outcome, focus on long-term connection, not short-term success. Ask yourself, how can this decision help both of us? Or what would make this fair for everyone? When you think like this, people feel safe and respected in your presence. This mindset turns persuasion into partnership. You stop trying to win people over and start working with them. And once people see you as a fair, genuine person, they not only say yes more often, but they also stay loyal to you for years to come. In short, win-win is not just a strategy, it's a philosophy. When both sides rise together, persuasion turns into trust, and trust turns into lasting success.
Chapter 9. The Power of Gratitude and Appreciation. Bob Burg beautifully explains that gratitude is one of the most powerful tools of persuasion. A genuine thank you carries more weight than 1,000 clever arguments. When people feel appreciated, they remember you, trust you, and want to help you again. Gratitude is not just good manners, it's good psychology. It tells others you matter, your effort is seen.
Whether it's a small favor, a meeting, or even a disagreement handled politely, expressing appreciation strengthens the bond. Burg says that gratitude turns every interaction into a positive memory. It makes people feel respected, not used, and that emotional warmth builds long-term loyalty in friendships, business, or teamwork. Even a short note, a smile, or a thoughtful message can create goodwill that lasts years. But gratitude must be real. Fake or forced appreciation feels manipulative, and that breaks trust. The key is sincerity. Notice what people do right, not just what they miss. When you genuinely thank others for their time, ideas, or kindness, you make them feel valued. In the long run, influence is not built on clever words, but on warm hearts. Gratitude reminds people of your character, not just your communication. And when people like you, trust you, and respect you, persuasion becomes effortless.
Chapter 10. The Inner Game of Persuasion. Confidence and Integrity. Bob Burg says that real persuasion begins inside you, not in your words, but in your mindset. Before others can believe in you, you must believe in yourself and in what you're saying. Confidence is the foundation of influence, but it must be balanced with humility and honesty. Confidence without ego means you trust your value, but you don't try to prove you're better than others. It's a quiet strength, the kind that makes people feel safe, not small. When you speak with calm assurance, people naturally listen because they sense truth in your tone. Integrity is the second half of this inner game. You can't truly persuade if your message is fake, selfish, or dishonest. Burg reminds us, influence built on lies may win today, but it will collapse tomorrow. Integrity gives your words credibility, and credibility creates lasting respect. When confidence and integrity come together, your presence becomes powerful. You don't need to push. People want to listen. You persuade not by shouting louder, but by standing truer. In simple words, be clear about your purpose, believe in your value, and always stay honest. Because the strongest persuasion doesn't come from fancy techniques. It comes from a heart that's steady, sincere, and real. Chapter 11. Everyday Persuasion. Using it in life. Bob Burg reminds us that persuasion isn't just for business meetings or sales. It's something we use every single day. Whether you're convincing your team to follow an idea, explaining your point in a relationship, or handling a family disagreement, persuasion is always at work. But the goal is not to win or defeat someone. It's to connect. True persuasion builds bridges, not walls. It helps people understand each other, even when they don't agree. When you communicate with kindness, clarity, and respect, you make others feel valued. And once people feel respected, they become open to new ideas. That's when real change and cooperation begin. In the workplace, persuasion helps you lead without forcing. At home, it helps you solve problems without fights. In society, it helps create understanding instead of division. Burg's message is simple. Persuasion is not a tool for control, it's a skill for harmony. When you use it wisely, you don't just influence others, you inspire them. Bob Burg ends his book with a simple but powerful truth. Real persuasion is never about control or manipulation. It's not about forcing people to agree with you or doing clever tricks to get your way. It's about creating value, respect, and trust. He reminds us that true influence comes from giving, not taking. When you genuinely care about others, when you help them solve problems, feel understood, and reach their goals, they naturally start supporting you in return. Persuasion, at its heart, is about purpose. It's about using your words and actions to make people's lives a little better. When you focus on making others win, you don't lose. Your respect, impact, and relationships all grow stronger. The real secret to getting what you want is helping others get what they want first. That's not just persuasion, that's leadership, kindness, and success working together.